Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Stars Showcase. We are at day one of E3, the big show for the video game world, if you will. And I am super excited because we have two of Wikia's star community members with us. They were in the show today. George Albor from ComDev was in as well. So let me introduce these guys, and then we're going to jump right into it. Speaking of George, here he is, George Albor from ComDev. Wave, George. Coming straight from the UK, but now in Los Angeles for E3, we have Technoside. And last but definitely not least, we have the Milkman. Give us a wave, man.
Yeah.
Cool, guys. Well, let's dive right in. And I am going to ask one question to all three of you. And George, I'm going to start with you, and we'll go down the line. What on day one of E3 was the biggest thing you saw today? Go.
Okay, the biggest thing I saw today. E3 is really large, so there's a lot of little things that I saw. It's all a blur. But one of the things that stood out to me the most was Elder Scrolls Online. Now, Elder Scrolls Online was at E3 last year as well. It wasn't playable. They just did some video stuff. And I was really underwhelmed. I was not excited for Elder Scrolls Online. It looked real bad. And this year, they did a little bit of footage before we got our hands on into the game itself, and then we dived in and started playing Elder Scrolls. And I have to say, it is absolutely gorgeous. Bethesda has clearly put in a lot of work over the past year. The game looks like, as beautiful as you would expect any sort of Elder Scrolls game to be. Those games are built so strong on atmosphere. And so Elder Scrolls Online just kind of blew me away, and it has a really simple and beautiful user interface that manages to clear away a lot of the clutter that other MMOs suffer from. So it was genuinely surprising to see something that I expected to be kind of tiny actually be really big on my radar today.
What's setting this apart from past incarnations?
Well, for the most part, Elder Scrolls has always been, it's always been a single-player game, and people have talked about, wouldn't it be great if we could play Skyrim multiplayer? And this is their first foray into multiplayer completely, and it's enormous, and it's not confined to one continent in the way that the other Elder Scrolls games were. Skyrim is massive, but you're just in Skyrim. Elder Scrolls Online takes place all across Tamriel, totally different continents, different environments, different races. It's got all of the pieces that make up all of these other Skyrim games, but it has them in one spot, basically. So you could just consume all the Elder Scrolls stuff that you want. It's got some of the lore. It's got it's staying true to the continuity of the previous series. So I just imagine that even though it's an MMO, and I think for the most part, there are some people who are into MMOs and there are some people who are not. It's really going to be a seller simply because it's tied so strongly to that Elder Scrolls franchise.
Cool. Technoside, I'm going to jump over to you. I can only guess because I know you have multiple interests, but I don't even want to do that. Tell me the one thing, the biggest thing you saw today, and why.
Being a Halo fanboy, I've got to say that Halo Spartan Assault was definitely the thing that stood out to me today. It's like the earliest opportunity I had, went straight to the Microsoft booth, went straight into the Halo Spartan Assault section and had a go at that game, and it was great. Honestly, was an amazing game.
What was it? What drew you in, man?
It's just Halo's Microsoft's flagship franchise has been, since Halo Combat Evolved, it's been an Xbox-only game. And now they've decided to create this new game, which is on mobile devices. Granted, it's Microsoft mobile devices, but I think it's a great evolution for the Halo franchise. It works on the Microsoft Surface, Windows 8 phones, and any Windows 8 operating system carrying laptop or desktop. But the storyline was amazing. So, well, from what I gathered from this short demo, it fits so well into the Halo franchise without messing around with any of the other the past storylines that have been around, which I found that quite a lot of the new franchises has done quite a lot and has made it slightly off-putting. But this one fitting so well, and the design of the game just made it so playable and so smooth.
Did you find it difficult to control the character? Because I tried it with you as well, and I was kind of surprised by the way that I interacted with Halo in a different way that I haven't done before in in previous Halo games.
The fact that it's a top-down arcade game made it a bit difficult. The new camera angle, Halo being a first-person shooter game, it was quite interesting to play like that. But as I played Halo Wars quite heavily, I sort of it was expected, and I guess I was used to it because of Halo Wars. But as for the movement, it only took a few minutes to stop from shooting at the walls and find the target. The movement and it had slight aim lock, I found, so it wasn't too hard to shoot enemies.
All right, I'm going to cut over to the Milkman. Your first E3, man. Tell me, what was the big thing you saw today?
The biggest thing I saw was definitely the lines. But I did manage to check out Infamous Second Son. Huge fan of the Infamous franchise, the first 2 games. It's still exclusive to the PS4, so Technoside migrated over to Microsoft, and I checked out the Sony stuff. Second Son looks really cool. I saw some of the gameplay footage. A couple of developers showed us some gameplay. It looked really interesting. I'm really interested in seeing how they're going to integrate the touchpad on the new Sony controller and do interesting things with that, because that really interests me. I know Wii U's done some interesting things with its touchscreen, and DS has been doing that for years already, so I'm very interested in seeing how they integrate that into the game. They already showed a way they did that in game, but it wasn't anything too big, so it seemed kind of gimmicky to me. But I mean, it looked great. The gameplay was really fast and fluid. And it looked like a proper extension of the mechanics from the first 2 games. So it definitely interests me. It's definitely I would say it's a killer app for the PS4.
Out of curiosity, the previous Infamous was all sort of lightning-based magic, if you will, and this one, it's all fire-based. When you were looking at it and seeing them play through the actual gameplay stuff, did it seem to you like that makes sense in the universe? Like you'll interact with things in a different way?
It made sense in the universe because in the first game it's just all lightning powers, and in the second game it diverges. Depending on your choices, you can be have sort of like lava-based powers or ice-based powers. In this game, it's more smoke-based. And he explained to us the story behind it is he has the power to absorb other powers. So he's going to go around, I guess, Pokemoning a bunch of people, and he wants to gain their powers. So it's nothing new, but it seems like a pretty interesting way to step forward. I'm interested in seeing how they take the Infamous universe forward. I'm really interested in the setting. It's sort of a dystopian Seattle, which they said was the perfect place to put it, to test out the lighting and the graphics, and it does look incredible.
Technoside, I know you are also a huge Destiny fan. Did you make it over there? And if so, why didn't that jump out as your #1 pick today?
I'm afraid I didn't get to see a lot of Destiny today. It had a small little booth which was showing like quite a large screen, but it was pretty heavily packed. Everyone was interested in this game, and everyone just swarmed over it. You couldn't see the screen properly. But hopefully tomorrow morning I'll be able to have a lot better look at it and then probably comment a lot more on it then.
Well, and that's a good point. I mean, we've got tomorrow's day 2. We're going to do one more of these tomorrow. There's a lot more to see. I did want to throw out one more question, George. I'm not a huge Final Fantasy fan, and I don't know if you are, but I'm going to direct this question to you anyways because
sure.
I got captured in front of the Square Enix booth because I watched the trailer to Final Fantasy 15, and this thing was cinematic, man. I mean, how do you feel about this new game? Is it groundbreaking? How do you think it's going to resonate within the Final Fantasy community, etc.?
Yeah, so I'm a pretty big Final Fantasy fan. This was previously titled Final Fantasy Versus 13, and this is a game that's been in the works for a very long time. And people have known about it. We've known that they've been working on this game. We know the sort of talent behind it. So there's a lot of high expectations. And during the Sony press conference, they showed footage of Final Fantasy Versus 13. And at the end of the footage, you see the 13 explode and it becomes the 15, right? And I think that we know that was very likely going to happen. But I think that is a good symbol for what Sony and Square Enix are hoping occurs with Final Fantasy 15. And I think what I expected to occur, right, which is to sort of reinvigorate a new interest in Final Fantasy and reinvigorate JRPGs as a whole. And amongst the Final Fantasy fans that I've been talking to, that seems to be the consensus. It looks gorgeous. It's in their wheelhouse. They're adding some really cool new gameplay elements to make it more fast-paced and more exciting than previous Final Fantasy games. But they haven't lost the sort of really gorgeous, cinematic, sweeping, epic stories that sort of define what Final Fantasy is. So, I have high hopes for that, absolutely. And I'll be checking that out tomorrow for sure.
Very cool. Last question, and I'm going to go reverse order. I'm going to start with Milkman here. Tomorrow, day 2, another day for us. What is high on your list? And you can give me 1 or 2. What are high on your list that you want to definitely check out tomorrow and potentially report back in our Stars Showcase tomorrow night?
I'm really interested in going to the EA thing. I'm really interested in seeing Dragon Age 3. I'm a huge fan of the Dragon Age franchise. So seeing that will be really interesting. I'm hoping we'll see a glimpse of Mirror's Edge 2. That's a game that everyone's wanted a theoretical sequel to for a long time. So Mirror's Edge 2 looks really interesting. I'm really glad they're moving forward with that, taking a big risk on that. I know it was kind of one of those fringe titles that EA did a long time ago, and I'm really excited for it, especially that in Dragon Age 3. Inquisition is what I'm hyped for the most.
Cool. Technoside, I'm assuming Destiny. Anything else?
Yeah, other than Destiny, Tom Clancy's new game, The Division. I'm really interested with that. The idea of it, like another open world shooter. The open world shooters are really making it this year. I think loads of games, Destiny, etc. And I was a massive fan of Ghost Recon, so I'd love to see how they've incorporated that game into this and see if it would really make it.
George, how about you?
I gotta go with Josh here and jump on the Ubisoft bandwagon. I think I'm really excited about The Division as well. It looks gorgeous. It's got some really cool interface stuff, so I'm excited about that. And finally, I want to play some of Watch Dogs, so I'm excited for that as well.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, guys, thanks so much. We've got another Stars Showcase tomorrow night coming straight from day 2 of E3. But again, we have a ton of great coverage. I know the Milkman has already written up a bunch of blogs. I know Josh is doing stuff as well. We've got quizzes. So please be sure to check out our video game hub at www.wikia.com/video_games for all of our E3 coverage. We will come back at you tomorrow. Thanks, guys, for participating.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.